Good evening, everybody. And yes, it is evening. In fact, it is almost 8:30 at night. It's another edition of New Guitar Day. And as you will see, we won't get to it till tomorrow, but we look over here, and it's actually a double New Guitar Day. And the first thing I want to mention is this was delivered incredibly late. Given the holiday delivery today is December the 12th, 2024. And FedEx made it to my house tonight at 7:30. So I let the guitar sit for an hour. I'm sure it's fine. I have to say that a couple comments. The spelling is interesting. This is a lay-tested design. I'm not sure what that means. And other people have commented on Fesley's little, create a graceful tune, enjoy a Fesley life. Every note is alive, every Fesley has a living soul. The moment you lay your fingers on Fesley, you're starting a conversation with life, communing with souls and changing your life. I'd like to mention that the box is fairly hammered, tape coming off. It's, you never know what you're going to find inside. It's fairly chilly out today, but it's not so extreme that I think that there would be a problem with the finish. So I just wanted to be curious and see. This guitar was purchased through Temu, and it came all the way from New Jersey. And this is their little, I guess you'd call it a super strat type of guitar. Comes with a gig bag. And I was just curious to see what I got, and I didn't want to wait till the morning. So I'm just going to go ahead and unzip it and see what we have. The main reason for getting this was they went on sale probably about a week ago. They're all sold out now, but these were selling for a mind-boggling $62, which, that's a bright pink, much brighter than I imagined. And again, comes with a gig bag, shipped to your front door. And pink sort of appealed to me, although I must say this is pinker than I imagined. Ooh. This is like shocking pink. But hey, real men play pink guitars, right? So I will take it out of its bag. I'm pretty confident that it's survives shipping even with the minimal packaging. But yeah, it's a bright pink. I was thinking, based on the other videos that I saw, that it would be more of a subtle pink. I'm going to carefully take this off, just in the odd chance that it's definitely got some smutsy on the finish. Not quite as clean as I would hope. I like to take this off carefully in the event that it might go back. Certainly hope that it doesn't. Inspection tag says that this was inspected on June the 2nd, 2024. Fret ends, not bad. There's a little sharpness to them, but certainly nothing dramatic. And again, I'm not sure what that smuts on the finish is. knobs feel incredibly firm. So yeah, I'm just going to go plug this in and see what it does. So okay, we're back. We're going to pop number 2 out of the box since the weather does not seem to have had any effect, and so they can sit out during the evening and do their acclimation. I tuned the first one up, stretched the strings twice, played a song on it, felt pretty darn good. This one came from Ontario, California. This box looks a little more thrashed, but again, given that they put it in a bag, that seems to be more than enough to get it on its travels. And this one, they supplied, people had mentioned that you get a couple sanding blocks, which is nice because I don't have any. And I appreciate that little feature. So, the first one, by the way, I guess they have a thing, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct, Mirandai. But the first one is Mirandai Pink, and this is supposed to be Mirandai Gray. This one has an extra bag on top of it, so I don't know if the other one was a open box or a return, or because this seems to have more of a substantial packing going on, the extra bag. So we might assume, which is based on that little detail, that the other one may have in fact been a return. But I don't know. I won't make any quick judgments. I'm curious to see what the inspection date is on this one. But just based on what I could see in the pictures, yes, this looks more of a desert sand. And this one was same date, June of 2024. So again, I'm going to gingerly remove the little string protector in the event that I would have to return this guitar. I'd like to make sure that it goes back in exactly the condition that it was received. And a lot of people are very quick to rip this stuff off, as I have been in the past. But I've learned that if you're going to return something, you want to keep it as close to the condition that you received it. That makes them much more likely to work with you and be reasonable. Again, I don't have any expectation that I would be returning this, but I'd just like to give them the opportunity to see that I took my time in the removal process. This one's a bugger. There we go. So it's interesting too, I will make mention of this later, the frettings on this one feel better. It's an interesting color. I mean, it's almost like there's a bit of pink in this one, but you can't really see it. And again, they call it gray. I don't see any gray at all. So I'm going to go tune this up and give this its first run, and I will be back. Welcome back, everybody. It is now Friday night, Friday the 13th, December the 13th, 2024. And I finally was able to remember, so this is the Fesley FST 350M. Two of them. One in, I don't know how you pronounce it, Mirandai, I guess that's yeah, give it a fancy name, but Mirandai Pink and Mirandai Gray. The gray one does not look gray, per my eye, and the pink one is pretty darn pink, although the camera, there you go, the camera shows the pink. And I guess through the camera this looks gray. It doesn't look as gray in person. Anyways, these were on sale, and that's what lured me into it. I actually had been paying attention to these for a while when they were like $150, and then Amazon would take $20 off and $30 off, but they were still in the $120, and I just, you know, being the cheap guy that I am, and then Shazam, somebody last week posted that Temu had these things for $62. I think this one was $62.51 and this was $62.52, so 1 penny more. So for $125.03, I got two of them. And you know, you add to that, it's certainly not a, you know, amazing gig bag, but it is a gig bag. And when you add that into the price, and then you add the shipping in, I mean, I think the cheapest gig bag you can get, and it's only a dust cover, is going to be $10. So let's assume that this one would be $20, minimal padding, and shipping, and you know, so again, it was too good to turn down. And if you go on YouTube, pretty much across the board, everyone's very impressed with these. I mean, again, don't confuse these with guitars that cost thousands of dollars. These are obviously entry-level beginner guitars. But, as we all know, in the land of budget guitars, these inexpensive guitars have come a long way. And both these guitars are really nice guitars. The only issue that I had, both of them had, I wouldn't say sharp fret ends, but a little bit rough. But Fesley threw in this, which I'd never had before, a sanding sponge, and I'm actually shocked at how well it works. 1000 grit, and so I ran that up and down the fret ends, and it basically took all the roughness off of it. I mean, if you wanted to spend some time with a file and dress them and make them perfect, you could do that, but again, for me, not necessary. The pink one, in my opinion, was an open box demo return. I think that for a couple reasons. If you saw in the earlier video, this one came, the gray one came, not only with the typical sort of foamy cover, but it also came with a plastic bag, and this one did not. And this one also had some scuffing. It's got a little bit of a finish issue right here, very minor, but it also had some really gnarly black scuffing that I've since cleaned off. So I almost feel bad for the price complaining, but I did, because to me it's about the principle. They were sold as brand new guitars. And again, I believe that this one was not completely a brand new guitar. So I'm awaiting their response. They're very similar, obviously a mass-produced item. This one, the sound in position, if this is position 1, in position 4, this one's a lot darker than this one. That could be just a pickup height issue, and the action on this one is actually quite high. Certainly it does not match the inspection tag. This one's much more in line. But again, $62. I mean, I was looking through old catalogs from the 1960s, and, you know, like a Sears catalog selling, you know, Silvertone guitars and, you know, things like that were made by Dan Electro. And a kid's guitar back then was like $45, $50, and this is like in 1962 when minimum wage was like $1 an hour. So to fast forward to 2024, to be able to actually get a guitar that's actually quite playable, that actually sounds pretty damn good for 62 bucks shipped with a gig bag is just, yeah, so I get it, the price of milk and the price of gas and the price of eggs, and you can't eat a guitar, but man, oh man, oh man, I think there's a huge glut in the guitar market. I think they haven't quite figured out that the guitar is sort of, it'll always exist, but it is not the center of the universe when it comes to music anymore, like it was for 30, 40, 50 years. It's going to take a back seat, sort of like the saxophone in the 50s or the trumpet and the trombone in the 40s. They're still out there and people still play them, but they're just not the main instrument. So I don't know what's going to happen to the guitar market. I've been having a difficult time selling some of my guitars because there's just not that many kids out there anymore that are aspiring to start a rock band and become the next Beatles or Rolling Stones. And I know I'm dating myself because that's going back 40, 50 years. But once upon a time, you had that you could sort of count on in your market, hoping that people would be doing that. And, when you look at the information about video games, that video games take in more money than the music and the movie industry combined, it just goes to show you that there's been a huge shift in what youngins are willing to do with their money these days. So, that being said, as an oldie, I'm just going to enjoy my final years, and I have no interest in spending big money for a Gibson or a Fender when I can have just as much fun with something like this. This is just really pretty outstanding. And the one thing that people said over and over and over again, and again, it's not a one-size-fits-all world, but most people were very complimentary about the neck on these guitars, and I have to agree, really nice. And I actually prefer a satin finish on the fretboard. I've had a couple of guitars that had a full gloss finish, and it's not my cup of tea. I prefer satin. So anyways, this is just really one of my shorter videos specifically because there's just a boatload of people that got this guitar in the last year, 2 years. So there's plenty of videos, plenty of sound samples if you're interested. I think this model may be discontinued. Fesley's like moving up to mid-tier guitars now. They've got guitars that are in the $299, $350, much nicer appointments, Wilkinson bridges, Grover tuners. So yeah, they're trying to move up the food chain. So I'm glad I got these when I did. The inexpensive ones, the $62 ones, lasted for about a week, and they're gone now. The only ones they have now are the blue one, which is really pretty. And if it came down to $62, I'd probably pop for that as well. But yeah, they're sold out of the pink and the sunburst and the gray and what's the other color? Black. Yeah, so probably should have bought 20 of these, but what am I going to do with 20? Anyways, we're winding down. I've got my eyes on a Grote Telecaster. Not in love with the color, but, close your eyes and play. I may or may not buy that in the next couple of days. It sort of depends on a few things. But if not, this will conclude 2024, which has been... every year I say, I'm going to buy less guitars, and then I end up buying more guitars because the deals are just, too good to be true. So anyways, again, the Fesley FST 350M, and I believe the M is for the matte finish. And they did a really nice job on the matte finish. I know the Grote has a couple with matte finishes, and they didn't use grain filler. So you see the grain on it. Again, some people like that, some people don't. But this is really nice. It's really a nice finish. And the fit in the finish on these guitars is actually, again, for the price point. And, had I have known, I wasn't going to take a chance, but I'd pop $150 for this. The most inexpensive Squier right now is the Debut, and it's got a matte finish. And it's probably bare bones cheap. Bullets are gone, so the Sonic replaced it, and the Sonics, they go on sale now and then, but they're going for $199. They bring them down sometimes to the $150 range. quality-wise, this is equal, in my opinion, which doesn't mean a whole lot, but in my humble opinion, this is equal to the Affinities in some ways. Yeah, quality, fit, and finish. Yeah, and who knows? These are Fesley House pickups. I have no idea. I'm sure they're ceramic. Someone said they were Alnico. I have no idea. I have no interest in pulling them to verify one way or another. They sound nice. And again, so I feel really good about these guitars. Last night when I was tuning this one up, finger in there, I broke the E string, so I had to stop and put a new E string on and stretch that out again, and I'll probably, in the coming days, change the strings out just so, because the factory strings aren't great. And this one's probably going to go for sale. If nobody buys it, then I'm going to investigate why the action's so high. The saddles can come down a little bit, but I tend to think this one may need a shim, just to, put a little more on the angle of the neck. But it's still very playable, even with high action. And when I say high, it's not off the roof. Anyways, thank you for joining me as we come to the end of another year. Let's wish the best for everybody and all endeavors. Hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas. Time spent with people that you enjoy being around, playing good music, and again, I have no idea what 2025 holds as far as purchasing guitars. I've pretty much gotten every guitar that I could ever hope for as far as style and configuration and pickups, and and I'm not going to ramp up to the world of Fenders and Gibsons. I've gotten my fill of Gretches. They're nice guitars. There's only a couple that I'm going to end up keeping. Yeah, I just can't really imagine unless there's just something out there. Of course, I didn't know 2 weeks ago that I was going to have these. So, anyways, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. As always, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.